Hello and welcome back to your mat. Today we're going to do a little flow class, and I'm going to ask you throughout this class to experiment with closing your eyes during some of the flow. You don't have to, this is just an option, but I really want you for this class, whether your eyes are closed or open, is to really just feel the flow and not worry so much about what it looks like, but I want you to feel it and just see how that feels in your body as you go through the practice. So we will start with a quote and get started. You don't need any props unless you do find that you like having a couple of blocks to bring the floor up to you. You can grab those. Otherwise, we'll just go without blocks or any kind of props for today. Today's quote is by Buddha. The mind is everything. What you think, you become. All right, let's get started with that in mind. So again, I'm going to invite you, not in maybe initially, but as we're going through, because it's going to be some repetition, so it's going to be familiar, and we're going to try experiment with a little bit of eyes closed. So I'll give you some cues when that's good. So go ahead and come to stand at the top of your mat and come into mountain pose. Feet about hip width apart, maybe a little wider if you have really tight hamstrings. And we're going to arrive here. And we will start with our eyes closed for just a moment here before we move. So arrive here. Stay in a nice mountain pose here. Neutral spine. Tall, majestic like a mountain. And arrive on your mat. Give yourself that moment to arrive. All right, and now let's start moving. So open those eyes. Inhale, reach your arms up overhead. Stretch up, look up. Exhale, fold forward, bending at the knees if you need to, hinging at your hips. Inhale and halfway lift. If you don't have blocks, you can put your hands on your shins and look out. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale and rise up. We're going to do that 2 more times for a total of 3. Go ahead and bring your arms down. So here I'm going to invite you at any moment, if you'd like to just close your eyes briefly through this, just so you can feel it. So again, you're taking out the visual and just feeling it. So at any moment, go for it. I'm going to try it on this round. We're going to do 2 more rounds of this. Inhale, rise your arms up overhead, eyes open or closed. Exhale, fold forward, fold in. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold in. Inhale, rise all the way back up. Bring your hands up to touch. And exhale, hands down to your sides. Okay, I did that one with my eyes closed. I really enjoyed that. So I'm going to do that another round. Eyes closed or eyes open. You join me, whichever works for you. Inhale, arms up overhead. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, rise all the way back up, reaching for the sky. And exhale, hands down to your sides. Pause here for a moment, close your eyes, and be in this moment before we're going to add on. So for this first round, I encourage you, if you go ahead and want to keep your eyes open so that way you can feel the movements and know what we're doing. And then on the next round, if you want to try experimenting with closing your eyes. So it's going to start like we just did. Inhale, rise your arms up overhead. Exhale, fold forward. Should be familiar. Inhale, halfway lift. And then exhale and go ahead and step back into your downward facing dog. And we're going to stay here for an extra breath or 2 just to arrive. So really get those hips up. And you can bend your one knee and the other knee if you like. You can keep both of your knees bent. You can straighten them. Find your way in your down dog here. Another inhale. Another exhale. And then we're going to rock forward into plank. I'm going to bring my knees down to the mat, but you can keep them up if you'd like to stay in full plank. And we're going to lower all the way down. So choose full plank or knees down. Untuck those back toes. Inhale and rise up into your cobra any amount. So this can be a low cobra. Just keep those your elbows tucked in and your shoulders back. You don't want to be rounding forward here. So find what works for you. And then on the exhale, go ahead and tuck those toes back. And let's come back into downward facing dog. Stay here for an extra breath or 2. Nice exhale. And then on the inhale, walk forward. And go ahead and look out. Halfway lift. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, rise all the way up. Bring your hands up overhead. And now your hands down to your sides. Now, you are welcome to join me in closing your eyes for that sequence, which will make it a little bit more challenging, potentially, but also it's interesting just to feel how it feels in your body. So let's try it. And you can always open your eyes, obviously. So inhale, rise your arms up overhead, eyes open or closed. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant your hands, step back into downward facing dog. Stay for a breath there. On the inhale, rock forward into plank. Drop your knees if you like. Come on down. Untuck those back toes and come into your version of cobra, keeping those elbows tucked in. Inhale on that, rise up in cobra. And exhale and come back into your downward facing dog. If you're still with me and your eyes are closed, how are you feeling so far? Are you really feeling that flow and not worrying so much about what it looks like? Stay here for another inhale. Exhale. Walk forward on your mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale and come all the way back up. Reach for the sky. And exhale, bring your hands down to your sides. Keep those eyes closed for just a moment if you have them closed. And open them back up. And see where you are. Now you may be slightly, if you had your eyes closed throughout, you may have found that you didn't end up exactly where you wanted to on your mat. Maybe you were a little off, maybe you're a little turned, and that's okay. It's really about feeling the flow and not worrying so much about where your feet are. And now we're going to add on one more here. So we're going to inhale. This one we'll go keep our eyes open so you can see what we're doing for the first round. Inhale, it's going to start the same. Inhale, rise arms up overhead. Exhale, fold forward. This is all familiar territory. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, step back into your downward facing dog. A nice inhale there. And exhale. Inhale, rock forward to plank. Drop the knees if you like. Come all the way down. Untuck your back toes and inhale and rise up into your cobra, any amount. Exhale, back into downward facing dog. Inhale. On the exhale, go ahead and walk forward. Inhale, halfway lift, look out. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale and come all the way back up. And hands back down to your sides. All right, and we're going to add on. I actually promised we're going to add on that other one, and I decided to give you one extra one there. So we're going to add on this one, I promise. Inhale, rise your arms up overhead. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, rock forward into plank. Drop your knees if you like. And exhale, come all the way down. Untuck those back toes and inhale and come up into your cobra, any amount. And inhale and come back up into your downward facing dog. And here we'll add on. We're going to step that left foot forward. And we're going to drop that back knee down. I'm sorry, the right knee forward. Excuse me. Step your right foot forward. Drop your back knee, your left knee down. We're going to come into a low lunge here. Sorry, I did not mean to screw you up there. My brain was thinking the opposite. And then from here, we're going to tuck those back toes. We're going to come into a high lunge. So go ahead and bring that back knee off the ground. Rise your arms up overhead. And inhale here. Get nice and long and tall. If you need to widen out your stance to make this more stable, go for that. Stay here for a breath or two. Nice high lunge. And then we're going to inhale. Step forward on our mat and go ahead and bring yourself into a halfway lift. So lift halfway out. And then we're going to exhale, fold forward. Inhale and come all the way back up to the top, and hands back down to your sides. So I'm going to try to do a much better job on this other side. So here we go. We're going to do the other side now. Inhale, rise your arms up overhead. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, halfway lift out. Exhale, step back, downward facing dog. Inhale, rock forward to plank. Drop your knees if you like. Come all the way down. Untuck your toes and inhale into cobra. Exhale back into your downward facing dog. And now we're going to do our left side. So on the inhale, step that left foot forward. Drop that right knee down. Come into your low lunge. So really look out here. Breathing. And then we're going to tuck those back toes and come up into your high lunge. So go ahead and find your steadiness here. And rise those arms up overhead. On the inhale, step forward and halfway lift out. Look out in front of you. And exhale, fold in. Inhale and rise all the way back up, reaching for the sky. Exhale, hands back down to your sides. So that is the full sequence. And now I invite you, during this next round, we're going to go through that on each side. You're welcome to close your eyes, either throughout the entire sequence, or part of it, or none at all. You decide. But really, whether you close your eyes or not is not important. I want you to feel the flow and not worry so much about what it looks like. So let's just feel it and be here on this moment. So we're going to go ahead and inhale, rise the arms up overhead. Eyes open or closed. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, rock forward to plank. Exhale, lower down. Inhale, come on up into your cobra. Exhale, back into downward facing dog. We'll do the right side first. So if you're with me, if your eyes are closed, this is where it could get interesting. Inhale and bring that right foot forward. Drop that back knee down. Coming into your low lunge here. And now tuck those back toes. And again, need some balance here. With your eyes closed, make it more challenging. But if your eyes are closed, and mine are, I'm going to go for it. We'll see if I fall over. Come on up to your high lunge. Bring those hands up overhead. Really feel this. And notice without your vision, it does change this pose. And then go ahead, inhale. Halfway lift, step up to the top of your mat and go ahead and halfway lift out of your hips there. And exhale, fold in. Inhale, rise all the way back up. And exhale, hands down to your sides. Close your eyes for a moment if they weren't already closed and just feel how that felt. And if your eyes were closed, how did that feel? Open them back up and you're back at the top of your mat, or roughly. Looks like I made it with my eyes closed. Let's see if we can do the other side now. One more round. Here we go. Inhale, arms reach up overhead, eyes open or closed. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, rock forward into plank. Exhale, lower down, however you like, into the ground. Inhale, rise up into your version of cobra. And exhale, back to downward facing dog. Left side, here we go. Inhale, bring that left foot forward, drop that right knee. You're in your nice low lunge here. Eyes are open or closed. If you're going with closed, how's it feeling so far? And now we're gonna come up into our high lunge. Again, with those eyes closed, it's gonna be a little bit more challenging. And you can always open your eyes if you need to, but it's kind of fun to experiment. High lunge there. And then go ahead and step forward. And we're gonna do a nice little inhale and halfway lift here. Exhale, fold in. Inhale, rise your arms up overhead. And hands back down to your sides. And stay here for just a moment, eyes closed. and feel. Feel what that felt like to flow through that, either with your eyes open or closed, whichever you chose, or some combination. Open your eyes. You've arrived back at your mat. And now we're going to come seated, actually on our backs, and we're going to finish with a happy baby. All the way on your back here. Hug your knees in your chest. Give yourself a nice hug and a squeeze. And then go ahead and grab the soles of your feet, or you can grab your ankles or behind your knees. Just going for a nice happy baby stretch here. So your knees are down toward the ground, your feet are pointed up. And then go ahead and release that. Stretch your legs out long on the mat, your arms out long on the mat. I'm going to come up and guide you through here. But I'd like you to go ahead and stay in Shavasana for just a brief moment. We're not going to be here very long. Trying to keep this class shorter. But we still have a little bit of time. So go ahead and stretch out long on the mat. I'm going to give you just a little bit here, maybe a minute or so of just some quiet. And allow the effects of that practice to wash over you. Make sure you're breathing. Give yourself some nice deep inhales and exhales here. And then resume your normal breath. For those that have more time, go ahead and stay there and ignore my cues. For those that need to get on with their day, go ahead and hug your knees into your chest and stay there for a moment. Just give yourself a really nice hug. Roll over to one side. Use your hands to prop yourself to come back up. I hope that you enjoyed kind of experimenting with this class, whether you experimented with closing your eyes at all or not, or even doing one of those whole flows with your eyes closed. How did it feel, and what did you think of that? And if you didn't try that, then maybe go back and do the class now that you're familiar with what we're going to do, and try closing your eyes. It's interesting when we take the eyes out of the equation, sometimes we get out of that thinking mind and we just really get into that flow, which is really what the idea behind yoga. So thank you again for joining me. Thanks for experimenting, and until next time.